So I started that brokerage, and we were supposed to just be in SoCal. And true story, accidentally I did a post on Indeed. I was hiring people, and I put it as remote, and it went across the country. And within 48 hours, I think I had 700 applicants, right? So that light bulb came on, like, oh wow, we could take this national, but I need to build up an install network nationally.
Right on.
Good.
Welcome back to the Peak Show. We have we're hoping this works out just fine. The microphones are acting up again, but this little powerful guy is going to be our pickup.
Right.
So
good to go.
We're here with Alex Parras. Is it Parras or Parras?
Paris.
Paris.
Like France. It's old Greek name.
Like Paris.
Like Paris, yeah. Spelled differently, but Parras Skivopoulos.
Oh, okay.
When my great grandpa came over. So, yeah.
That was his first name?
That was his last name. His first name was George, but I mean, not actually George. Parras Skivopoulos.
Oh, wow. That's a name.
So when they chopped it at Ellis Island, like, yeah, man, you can't have a name like that. So,
yeah.
Paris, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Did you grow up here?
So I grew up in California. I was born in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
My parents met at Cal Poly. I was born, my older sister, my younger sister, and I were all born here at San Luis Obispo County. Lived in Santa Margarita till I was 4, and then we ended up moving back down where my dad grew up in Redondo Beach. My little brother was born there, Redondo Beach, so we all grew up down there in South Bay and lived there for quite a while. And then always kind of came back and forth. My grandparents had a ranch up here in Paso. Yeah. So it was always back and forth. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It was a good place to land. Like, it's beautiful here. Well,
because you spent like about a decade in the Gulf area, or like a few years.
Probably a little half a decade.
Yeah.
In Texas and Louisiana. Yeah. Underwater welding, diving, and I was in a long relationship too. So like, she was out here in California and SoCal, and so I'd work like 2-3 months and then come home for like a month, and then work 2-3 months, come home for a month. Yeah. Yeah, it was just pretty taxing. So eventually I ended up coming back home to SoCal to be, part of that relationship, a little closer to home. And I was working out of Long Beach and Los Angeles on the ports, doing all the ship husbandry, still diving. And I kind of wanted to get out of that career. I kind of wanted to change.
Ship husbandry. That's like not like with animals. That's like making babies with animals.
Right now,
making little ship babies.
Little ship babies. Being a good husband to ships. Yeah. No. So yeah, just diving on those big merchant vessels. You know, all the ones carrying the cargo, and we would do inspections, clean them. Weld on them. Try to fix them up if they came in. Beat up from their overseas travel. And
I imagine people don't do that for very long. It's taxing to be underwater that much.
It's taxing, dude. Like it's like I'd say majority of the guys probably, 5-6 years, maybe a decade, and then they're out. You rake up some dough, and then you move on either to like a supervisor position if you want to stay out at sea. I didn't really want to do that because it's hard on the family life. You know, like if you want to have a family, if you have a family,
for sure,
it's rough. So I kind of knew that I wanted to explore different ventures,
right?
And get out of that. So I ended up doing the solar thing, right? Entrepreneurship has always been a part of who I am. At first I was working for a couple different companies, and I just didn't
doing solar.
I was doing solar deals as far as brokerage, like a brokerage. I didn't want to do the operations, the installs, the construction anymore after doing diving and that side of operations. And I worked for a couple different dealerships in SoCal, and our morals just didn't align. I didn't like the way. My whole thing with sales in general is you got to come from a place of helping.
We were just recording for about 10 minutes, and I didn't have the microphone turned on. This is definitely still a grassroots podcast deal going on. And the long and short of it, you were a welding underwater diver.
Underwater welder for a while in the Gulf of Mexico. Worked my way back home to SoCal. Yeah. Kind of knew I wanted to get out of that career.
This is fun.
It's great. Yeah. No, I knew I wanted to kind of like get out of that career, semi-retire from doing that for a while. You make pretty good money, and saved up and was looking for a different venture. Right. And I enjoy helping people. I've been in sales before, so I got into solar sales.
So in solar, because you have like localized companies like here in town that they only service like local projects, and they have crews that install them.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is more brokerage, which is it's like wholesale, right?
The company I started is very much a brokerage, you know, and it started. It was so. Like when I first started, I worked for a couple different dealerships, right? And our morals didn't align. Like I didn't like the way they were operating and representing numbers and really being transparent about things. So I went to a couple different ones, and I was like, okay, this can't be the way the industry is.
Right.
If it is, I'm not one to conform. I don't want to get out of this industry. I want to change things. So ended up contemplating doing in Torrance, California, doing a small install full EPC. And I was like, you know what? I just don't want to get into the construction side. I'm not lazy. Just doing the underwater welding and construction and operations, everything that entails. I was like, okay, I don't want to get into that, but I do want to help people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dealers, brokers out there. So I started that brokerage, and we were supposed to just be in SoCal. And true story, accidentally, I did a post on Indeed. I was hiring people, and I put it as remote. And it went across the country. And within 48 hours, I think I had 700 applicants. Right, so that light bulb came on, like, oh wow, we could take this national, but I need to build up an install network nationally. So I started calling different installers all across the country, letting them know what I was doing, and just one by one started getting more installers after making sure they had the proper licensing, that they had good reviews, that they weren't taking advantage of people, and just building this network of installers,
subcontractors.
Yeah. So. Built that up to about I think we're up to 39 right now, all across the country. Some of them do multiple states. Some of them are national installers. Some of them are localized.
So your remote people, are they going to folks' houses and writing up quotes in other states, or how's that working?
What's cool is they can do it 100% virtually, but they do have if they are local enough, I do suggest they go in person, meet the people in person, treat them with that white glove, red carpet treatment. But what's cool about the network we created is someone in California can sell a deal in Texas. Someone in Texas can sell a deal in Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
I've got someone working for me. She's selling residential painting jobs, and she used to work for a solar company locally, and she was a rock star salesperson.
Yeah.
And I think she's also on the side doing something like this.
Okay.
Where they're selling in different states.
Yeah.
For someone like you.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it is you.
No. I think Her
name's Stephanie.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
No, I don't think she's on the crew.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we have a good amount of reps now that are on our platform, what I call it, the Lazarus Energy platform. And
Lazarus.
Yeah, Lazarus. And that
having to do with raising Lazarus from the dead?
It is exactly that, dude. I kid you not. I could not decide a name. And as weird, I'm a weird guy, But as weird as it sounds, it came to me in a dream. Yeah. I woke up one morning and the name Lazarus was there. And I thought about, okay, this means rebirth, being reborn, something different in the power industry. It's the opportunity to own your own power. But I think it's more powerful in the sense of what the platform itself is, right? The Lazarus platform is basically it's a CRM, a portal for independent contractors across the nation to log into to do sales training, to learn about the solar industry.
Yeah.
They're provided leads, right? They pay a membership to be on the platform. They're provided leads. They're provided daily meetings, trainings. But it's also kind of a rebirth for that entrepreneurship. As an independent contractor, you're an entrepreneur.
So your sales, do you call them salespeople? Sales reps?
I call them sales reps, yeah.
Are they their own?
They're their own boss.
They're
all
boss.
Independent contractors.
So it's basically a straight commission deal.
Yeah, and what really inspired me about this was 99% of the solar people out there in the industry are commission only. Yeah. But they work for companies that don't treat them like they're their own boss. They'll say, hey, you're commission only, but we need you to go knock on this many doors. Or you have to work these hours. And that's not the way being your own boss and independent contractor works. And we try to kind of help people realize hey, you work on the Lazarus platform, you work with Lazarus, you don't work for Lazarus. You are your own boss, you dictate your own schedule.
So how do you handle leads for them?
So they pay monthly memberships, right, to be on our platform, to have access to all the install partners, the financing partners, as well as the sales training. And then depending on which membership they pay for, we provide leads. So we'll run advertisements on, Google, on Facebook, things like that.
In different areas.
In all different areas across the U.S. And we'll get people that fill out our forms, show that they're interested in solar.
Yeah.
We'll provide those leads to the reps. They call, follow up, and that those leads are assigned to them.
So that would be like the one thing is when you're the owner or like the managing partner or whatever, and you're spending all this money on marketing and you're sending leads to people that are underperforming the sale.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's when you say, yeah, you're your own boss, but you're not making the sale. You're losing the sales too much.
Yeah. So that was part of
conversion rate's too low.
Exactly. So at first I didn't have any memberships to be on the platform. It's like, hey, you all have an opportunity. This is what we're going to do. But like you said, conversion rates are, hey, we just provided you 100 hot leads, right? People filling out forms ready to go. We put in the CRM. We can see your activity on the CRM. You haven't logged in 2 weeks. So yeah, you're your own boss, but like, hey, we're providing leads. We're paying for this.
Yeah.
That's where the memberships came into tail. So hey, if you're gonna be, if you want 100 leads a month, this is the membership deal, right?
Yeah.
If you want 50 leads, 200 leads,
I'm gonna say 100 leads is like $1,000.
No,
not even $500.
No. So like the way we go, we have an essentials, a specialist, and elite package, right, that they can be on. And essentials is $69, specialist $169, elite is $269.
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah, and then we provide them leads, and basically, because you have, let's say you have 100 people on $269, right?
Yeah.
And we pay X amount for our CRM. We have our overhead.
Yeah.
Right. We take away the overhead. We take away the profit that we have set aside for management, and then the remaining is used for leads. So it's technically the company is investing partially into leads, but really they're paying for their own leads as a group. And because you have 100 people paying $269, that's $26,000 a month. Minus a profit, a little bit.
Your marketing spend's probably like 15-20%.
Yeah, so it's not it's not bad. Right?
It's not bad, but it's also like it's a large number.
Yeah, so you go on scale.
So they're paying you these membership fees, but a lot of it goes into marketing.
Right. Yeah, because if I went and did marketing and I'm like, oh, I want to run a campaign to get 100 leads. Well, that expense is much higher than if I wanted 1,000 leads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like people are throwing into a bucket together collectively so that we can get better deals on leads. So if I run target in Phoenix, Arizona, for instance, and I'm like, okay, I want 100 leads. Okay, well, it's $39 a lead for 100.
Okay.
Let's say that. But if I go, hey, I want to go for 1,000 leads, well, that number drops all the way down to $18 a lead.
Right.
So it's just about people kind of working collectively together for the same goal, and rather than competing against
each other. Because I know in California, solar kind of, my perspective is that it took a little bit of a dive last year because of the rebates went away and stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But in other states, is it still?
So solar took a bit of a dive all across the nation. We saw a hit. When people are seeking out solar, there's usually they have some kind of financing in mind. Everyone took a hit when the loan rates skyrocketed, right? Because you could go to someone and say, hey, we have a 25-year solar loan, 0.99% APR. Your new monthly bill is going to be $78 a month as opposed to the $200 you're paying.
Gotcha.
You're going to pay over the next 25 years regardless, right? If you were on solar or if you're just staying on the grid. But now you're only paying $78 fixed rate instead of whatever your fluctuation of $250 to $300 is. Now, when those rates flip-flopped, you couldn't offer $78. Okay, so you're paying $250. Your new loan, we're going to put you on a 10-year 6.99, and you're going to pay $300 for the next 10 years. And that's hard sell to people, dude. So now if you're a good salesperson, you run the numbers, you have spreadsheets.
You're saving money down the road.
After that 10-year mark and you're paid off your solar, you're saving X amount, but people are like, dude, I don't need to save 10 years from now with inflation and everything else. I need to save now.
Yeah.
That extra $50 a month, that means something to me. So it's a little bit harder. That was across the nation. California in particular changed up some of their net metering policies. Net metering being the buyback rate for solar. So batteries became necessary. Still a viable option, but definitely did take a little bit of a hit.
So I know that like in real estate, when we're looking to sell a home that has a leased system on its roof, it's a pain in the butt because then the new owner has to qualify for the loan too. Do you do those? So
we do work with like some of the bigger companies like
not saying it's not a good option for someone.
No. It's a good option for the person staying in the home. It is. Now these per Sunrun, per these larger entities that we work with that do this leasing, they say that the new homeowner is automatically qualified, like pre-approved to take over this lease. However, I can imagine in real estate, you're coming into a house and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy this new house. Great, it has solar. Okay, I have my mortgage that I'm worried about. I don't want to have to worry about a solar payment, you know, this lease. Or maybe some people don't want solar.
Yeah.
Right? Or if they do, they want it paid off, you know. So there's different avenues around that. Yes, they automatically can take over the lease, and it's a pain in the ass a little bit to transfer all that.
I think the sticky part is when someone's already strapped for cash and a $4,000 mortgage is now a $4,300 mortgage.
Exactly.
And then the bank goes, we're not going to loan you that much per month.
Yeah.
Like, you can't afford that payment.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can afford 4, but you can't afford 43. Or it's like it's like a frog's hair of a difference.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I could say, like the workaround in that would be the person selling the home. Like, let's say you put an offer in at a home $760, right? And they have an unpaid system, still owe $30,000. Well, that offer now becomes $730, or it stays at $760 if they pay the system off.
Yeah, use it as a negotiating tool.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a pretty powerful negotiating tool.
I can see that.
You know, they're pretty. Some of those systems they're rather expensive. They shouldn't be. That's where again the morals came into play. Some of these systems that people were buying for $50,000-$60,000, and yes, they were saving money because of the loan rates. Yes, they were paying less, but they're like, dude, that system should not be $50,000-$60,000. You know, it should be half that.
My dad, 2 years ago, he had a friend who installed solar in San Diego, and my dad's really good with his hands.
Yeah.
He's also over 60 years old.
Right.
He installed it with like help of like a couple different people. He had the electrician like conduit down to the box, put the new box in.
Yeah.
He bought all the parts. He had his friend like coach him how to do it. My dad was up on the roof.
Yeah.
My dad installed his own solar system.
Probably like 12, 15 grand and got out of pocket, dude.
Yeah.
Just
10 to 15 grand.
Yeah, dude.
All said and done.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, that's so awesome.
it took him, you know, a handful of like Saturdays.
Yeah.
But, you know, my dad's also comfortable on a ladder. He's a painting contractor also.
Nice.
But I remember saying to him like, man, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a big undertaking. But
dude, that's awesome.
In San Diego,
a lot of people can do that, dude. Yeah.
San Diego has SDG&E, which is like PG&E down there.
Expensive.
And they're running their AC in San Diego. I mean, they're like, you could easily, and the pool pump and everything.
Yeah.
We're talking like $400 a month.
Easy, dude. We'll run into homes all the time here in Cali that are like, dude, we look at their electric bill, $700, $800, $1,000 a month, and you're like, damn, man, it's too much.
The house we just sold here in Atascadero, well, we close escrow tomorrow, is 1,100 square feet at being generous.
Yeah.
And it has AC, you know, central AC. But in the summertime, we never paid more than like 110.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In the winter, we hardly use as much electricity.
Oh, he's not.
So it's mostly gas. It's a gas furnace.
Yeah.
So our electric bill will be like 40.
Yeah.
And so when we went and got a solar quote a couple times, the door-to-door Vivint or one of those guys comes by and they go, or Sunrun, and they say, hey, this is what your blah, 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 and your monthly payment would be X, Y, and Z. I'm like, well, here's our average bill.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they still try to get us to like figure out a way. I'm like, well, down the line, it could be more expensive. I'm like, yeah, but right now, I'm not spending $400
right, exactly,
more a year than I'm spending now.
That's something that I preach to our guys too. Is like,
if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I always tell them, hey, you know when you're an all-star in my book? Is when you go, you negotiate a deal, and you realize this isn't the best option for this person, and you let them know that. You say, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. Solar's probably not the best option for you right now. Yeah. But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to give you a quote. Do you have any friends or family that might need it? Right. And then you get referrals from them, and then you close one of those referrals. Yeah. You know, and we have referral programs where, hey, if you refer me to a friend, I'll get you $500 if they install $1,000. Yeah. We have all these referral programs, but that's an all-star in my book, is when you're honest, transparent about the transaction. You let people know, hey, it's not the best option for you right now. You have so many people out there that try to force it down people's throats or manipulate the numbers, and it's shady, man. What's your
in terms of marketing, like say for Google, because Google's like, someone's going on Google to search for solar. You don't see an ad. It's not like Facebook where you're scrolling and the algorithm says, hey, I think you might want this. Right. But when you go on Google, you're searching, like on mine, you know, we might do like 5 pitfalls to avoid in painting contractor, and that's like the ad. And you click on it, it's like a lead generation.
Exactly.
How do you guys come up with? Do you have a marketing company that you work with, or do you do that on your own?
We first started working with a couple different marketing companies, and that that's a good way to put this. I like working with experts on things. Yeah. So that I can, for me, it's worth the money to spend to understand how that engine works. Yeah. Because at first, you know, being new to the advertising and hiring some people in that knew a little bit about advertising, none of us were pros, and we're still not. They're still always learning stuff. It's not crazy, right? But so we hired a couple companies to do the where they were posting, when they were posting, what geographics, you know, were hit or miss, and all this data as well is provided to you by like Business Meta Suite, like through Facebook or Google. They'll provide you all the data. So after running several of those, paying an arm and a leg, you know, like for these advertising companies, there's a dime a dozen out there, and they're all charging a lot. After doing that several times, just kind of, you know, nailed down like, okay, this is how we did it. We did a couple of trial runs, a little bit smaller, and we're like, okay, we got it. You know, I like the search engine optimization, hiding things on the back end of your website. Blogs, things like that, daily blogs. Make sure you're getting that optimal search engine, and then also sponsoring your website as well. Getting it so like people search solar in this area, boom, top, you know, results. That's important.
That's mostly, I find, I've been noticing a lot more recently. I've been posting like actual posts to Google My Business for Peak Realty and Peak Painting, and put like organic posts, like a picture. And then you put a caption like Atascadero exterior paint job, or like Atascadero buyer, you know, remodeled kitchen. Or even just posting like a learn more button on like a what's new, and put your blog posts on there.
100%.
Because you get the Google My Business, but I would imagine you have Google My Business accounts for many different regions.
Yeah, it's all over the US. Like, so we have like a national account, right? And then, but we'll specifically target certain areas like that we're going to market to try to really bump that up, because we'll run, you know, we don't constantly have we say we have the capability of doing all 50 states, which we do, both residential and commercial. But we don't run campaigns in all 50 states at all times. We'll target, okay, we're going to target Dallas, Texas area. We're going to do, you know, Wichita, Kansas. We're going to do San Jose, California. We're going to pick some certain target areas. And we'll specifically run campaigns in those areas for like 2-3 months. And then, okay, let those kind of die out, trickle down, and then start other campaigns, you know, in other areas. So.
Do you have an idea of like Lazarus? Are you the sole owner?
Yeah.
So do you have an idea with Lazarus being like a, because I know you have other interests as well, like entrepreneurial interest. Do you see Lazarus being like a self-running machine, or are you looking to sell it or down the line or franchise it? Or
No, I appreciate that question. Because people have asked me that too. Like, do I want to create
I get that question all the time myself.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I bet. It's one of those things, like, I don't want to go public. I don't want to do the franchise thing. I want it to be its own machine. I want it to continue to grow.
How much do you have to do on a daily basis with your sales reps, like you personally?
So the first 2-3 years of building the company, it was, I kid you not, man, like we're talking about like really getting into it, and people only see like the results, right? They don't see the long hours. I was probably like, from building websites to trial and error on all these different, you know, sales training and meetings, how many meetings are we going to have a week, all this stuff that we had to go through, the hardships, dude. When I first started, I was probably investing minimum like 60 to 72 hours a week. Like behind the computer, talking with reps, talking with people, working one-on-one, building stuff out. Long days, dude. Like, owning your own business is such a blessing, but at the same time, it's like one of those things that never shuts off. You know, we're working on the East Coast. I'm getting phone calls at 4 or 5 in the morning.
From
reps on the East Coast, like, wanting to know things, and I took those calls. I was up, you know, like the night before till midnight working on things, and then 4 in the morning get that phone call. Hey man, how can I help? What do we need? You know, so as you're building, like, that's the stuff people don't see.
100%.
Nowadays, you know, 3 years later down the line, got it dialed in where we have the right, I feel like the right people in the right places for management, for mentorship. And I invest nowadays, I'll hop in, I'll welcome reps on onboardings, and that's usually 2-3 times a week. We'll do an onboarding for new reps to bring them onto the platform. I'll be a part of that. Usually about 2 to 3 hours those meetings go, you know, introduce what we're about, our morals, our standards, what they're getting, you know, quick introductions, touching base. I like to be hands-on, but I've really tried to step away as much as possible.
So do you have like a sales manager?
Yeah.
And then do you have how does the handoff work to the subcontractors?
So
you have somebody that does that separately, or does each rep control their own?
So each rep does have a choice who they want to work with. What's cool is, and this took us a while too, is and I'm not a super tech guy, but like I have a tech guy who's actually an ex fire chief. He lives out in Alabama now, but he was a fire chief out in like Palm Desert area. But he's like, this guy's He's one of those guys like photographic memory, like super smart techie dude. His name's Eric, and it's just awesome. I'm so glad we crossed paths, same ideals, everything. But he helped me build out a custom CRM.
Okay.
So all the leads are put into the CRM. Let's say you get a lead, you call it, this person's interested, you will request a quote in that CRM. It kicks over to our proposal team. Our proposal team builds out that proposal based off of the energy usage they have.
Yeah.
They'll kick it back to you in the CRM, and then it'll show you your options. Hey, you have ABC dealer, or installer, you have XYZ installer, and LMN installer in that area. This is their history. This is their adders. This is their red line. This is their Google reviews. And you can choose as a rep. Okay, I want to go with them this time.
Okay.
And you'll know how much profit loss is in there for yourself. Based off of that installer. So it kind of holds the installers accountable too. If they're like trying to charge really high margins or red lines, then well, it's kind of like two gas stations competing on the corner. Right. You know, they want the business, then they can't go super high.
So it's not like something you say, hey, we're going to sell a job for X, and then when we sell it, you say you go to a pool of subcontractors and say, we'll give you $8,000 to install this system.
Right. So they say
yes or no.
Exactly. And what's cool about that too, which is different from most companies, let's say you work with ABC local guy, you are stuck only utilizing ABC local guys materials, product, loan variations, financing, all that. What's cool for the reps on our platform is like, hey, you have 3 options. Most of the time, anywhere we're selling, you have 2 to 3 options. So you can go to your client and say, hey, these are the 3 options. Again, about transparency, honesty, and coming from a place of helping. Hey, these are the 3 options. Here are the rates. If you put the same margin on all of them, again, like gas stations on the corner, you can be like, hey, this gas station is California prices, right? This gas station is $5.85. This gas station's $5.87. The reason they're $5.87 is because their fuel's a little bit better. But at the same time, if you're looking to save, I feel like this is a good opportunity.
Or they have better branding. It's mobile. It's Shell.
Exactly.
People want to go there.
And some people are like, no, man, give me the $5.85. Other people are like, no, dude, I want the $5.87, 100%. So, but you give options to your clients so that they are in control. That they have a say in what they're getting, right? Rather than just kind of forcing it upon them.
Gotcha. I think it's a little different when you have an employee model, like when when I'm my painting company's all employees. You kind of say, this is what we do. The standard is the standard. And then this is just the best. We just do the best all the time because we tried to think about like ways to go, okay, this is good, better, best. You're like this prep, then better prep, then best prep, or this paint, the best paint. And then when you come down to it, then you're constantly changing the guy's mindset. Say, okay, this job we're dialing it back. This job we're dialing it forward.
And this you're 100% correct on that. Employee model's way different. We thought about this too, and this was part of our trials and errors, right? And this is where we really try to train people on sales. Is buying comes from an emotional place, right? And when you get into an analytical type of ordeal, and you get people confused, right? And sometimes more options is not always the best option,
for sure,
right? So yes, we have options, but when we say, hey, this is who we feel like you should go with. Right? And we say, this is who we feel like, and this is why we feel like you should go with them. And if they are balking at that, then you say, okay, well, I got a couple backups here, right? But if you come and you say, hey, here's 5 different options, they're going to be like, first of all, that's going to stall the sale because they're going to want to evaluate all 5. Secondly, it's going to confuse the shit out of them. They're going to be like, well, what's the difference? What's this and that, right? And it's a good thing. So having these options, definitely a viable, good thing to have, but also you want to lead your client in the right direction. Again, come from a place of helping. When you can earn someone's trust in sales, that's the biggest thing. People don't want to buy from someone that they don't necessarily like or trust. So if a lot of companies come in, they start running numbers right away, they'll just dive right in, blah, blah, blah. We're like, no, get to know the person, get to know their needs, their pain points. How can I help you? What are you looking for? You come from that place first, you earn their trust, they like you, they're going to work with you no matter what, even if the pricing's a little higher, even if, there's a competitor out there breathing down their neck, and constantly calling them. Maybe they have better pricing, but they're like, this guy, he just rubs me the wrong way. I've heard it so many times where they're like, dude, we have this other company, they're bidding us, they're way lower than you guys, but they rub me the wrong way. I like you as a person, I trust you, I want to go with you.
We've landed 2 jobs in the past week that we were the most expensive bid, but it comes down to like the process, and we know without a doubt the confidence in our team. And we know without a doubt that what people are paying for, they're 100% getting what they're paying for. And even on the real estate side, it's a little easier to give a package, especially with a seller, because you can say, okay, I'm going to give you, you know, the bronze, silver, and gold package for marketing.
Right.
And when we're paid with commissions, you know, 2 to 3% commission is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so you can dial in the commission percentage based on like, okay, you pay me 3%, and you're going to get a. Okay, forgive the interruption. We had an issue with the camera and it cut out. Went about the end of the conversation about Alex's business. We started pivoting towards fitness and our interest in CrossFit and fitness in general. So thanks for sticking around. Sorry for the technical difficulty on this episode, but we're getting back into it right here. Please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm open to so many, you know, like so much mentorship, and there's so many great people I've met, dude, that are just, you know, through CrossFit especially.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good stuff about, you know, that there's such a stigma about CrossFit.
Yeah.
Right. I was even talking to a young man this morning. I was at the gym about 4:30 and he killed it on the mile. Like ran like a 4:34 mile, dude. Like guy's a stud. Jordan. And, yeah. And I was talking to him because I met him at Valley Fitness.
Yeah.
And he's friends with Monica. I was like, hey, when are you going to get into the gym, dude? When are you going to come do some CrossFit? He's like, nah, I can do it. Monica ended up convincing him. He got in there. I saw him at his first class, and I was like, dude, stick around. You're going to like this.
Yeah.
I talked to him today, and he's like, dude, I'm so glad that I'm here. And like, as an ex-football player and stuff, you know, you kind of miss the sport. And I'm like, this is a fucking awesome sport.
It's a sport, yeah.
It's a sport, and it's like...
You're racing the clock.
You're racing the clock. Yeah. There's competition, you know, like there's a little competitiveness, even though we're all pushing each other to excel. And it's a great sport. And he just said this morning, though, he's like, I'm so glad I'm here. I had this stigma about CrossFit, and it's way different than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not... What people don't realize when they come in there, I think our gym's pretty special. Everyone thinks their gym's special.
Yeah.
But, I think like
I've been to like 10 CrossFit gyms around the country.
Yeah.
Anytime I travel, like I always find a CrossFit gym to go to drop into.
Yeah.
And it is special.
The community of people, dude, and their welcomeness, their attitudes, their humbleness, they're willing to help people. Like me being brand new up to this area, like over the past year, became my home, my friends, my family, you know, at that gym. And it's continuing to grow more and more. Yeah. You know, but if I didn't have that outlet, because I've gone to the regular gym up here. Yeah. And I throw my headphones on, I go slam my weights around, and you don't really go talk to people. You don't, it's not very social. Right. And I like that. I like that. That's my mental reprieve where I can just blast my music and just go, you know, zone out and just focus on lifting weights. But what I love about the CrossFit is the community, dude. Yeah. You have Lillian and you have all these different people, different ages and different fitness levels that are in there striving to better themselves. Yeah. So we all have that same mental goal.
That's awesome.
And like we all connect on that level. So that's something I'd like to recreate. Again, Lazarus Fitness, I don't know if it's going to be like a personal trainer platform or if it's going to have its own gym front one day. Yeah. If it's going to be CrossFit affiliated.
Hey, cross that bridge when you get there.
Way down the line, you know, but those are things, like I said, with the solar 3 years ago, right? And kind of got finally 3 years later of grinding, got to a comfortable place where I can step away. I have the right people in the right places.
For sure.
It's not a completely auto-generated machine at this point. I can't neglect it, but it's nice where I can step away, still have income coming in, and work towards other things.
It's awesome.
You know, the future. So
well, I'm really stoked that you came on. I'm hoping that this came out okay with the sound and everything. Yeah. I don't know if the camera shut off for about 2 minutes there, but we'll splice it together. Yeah. You know, I just really enjoy talking to people like you. I get inspired by other people, especially entrepreneurs and what they're doing, but also people that have the same kind of drive for like health and well-being. So,
dude, thank you so much for having me.
Man, that was awesome. Right on. We'll see you next time.
You can be a rock star, man.
Most likely we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's just the gym.
Peace out.
See you guys.